Eliminating Stress, Module 3B, Principles. A 3 Principles-Based Presentation. Copyright David Philip Kropka, 2025. Our understanding of a subject expands the way our view of a city becomes expanded when we move from street level to the top of a tall building. Having our perspective lifted by our moment of pause allows for insight to occur that enables us to think in terms not previously available. Since not all researchers' understanding may have advanced to a level where a topic makes sense, arguments would be of no surprise. Psychology researchers have gotten too deeply into the details. They continue to split hairs and introduce new disorders. It's like getting stuck in every addition problem, not recognizing that all numbers have something in common, the seeing of which allows all addition problems to be solved. The resolution of psychological problems comes from taking a step back and seeing a bigger picture. All of us have our personal experiences of life, each moment of which is composed of multiple factors. What is important is understanding that, regardless of the details of those factors, the way every experience of life is formed is common to us all. Learning a principle stays with us and can't be forgotten. We have gained more clarity, and having this elevated feeling and understanding becomes a new normal for us. For example, I learned something about the principle of balance as I learned to ride a bicycle when I was young. Although I haven't ridden in many years, I have no doubt that I can get on a bicycle at any time and ride successfully. When we become grounded in some principle, it becomes our new normal for us to function in that way. We don't have to work or exert any energy to sustain that level. We grow accustomed to it and no longer consider it to be remarkable. It just becomes ordinary for us to feel that way as we go about our lives. Einstein once said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't really understand it. So if we're hearing a lot of elaborate, complex BS regarding some field of study, we can be pretty sure it's not a principle. The quantity of theories and amount of complexity present in some field of study correlates directly to the amount of uncertainty about how things work. Deeper understanding simplifies matters and reduces complexity. In the following sections, we'll see similar advancements in the areas of mental health, addictions, everyday happiness, and more. On a cautionary note, if you're accustomed to busy, complex thinking, or you say to yourself, it can't be that simple, it might be helpful to take a deep breath and slow down. Furthermore, you can't hold on to what you currently understand and expect to understand more deeply and feel better. Although, just as principles of addition still apply when we learn principles of calculus, if your current understanding is well grounded, it will hold true as your understanding deepens. Because principles simplify matters, our thinking can slow down and greater peace will emerge. Because we see a bigger picture, we can be more precise and efficient in our activities. A friend of mine once said that he led his life as if he was hanging outside of a building, clinging desperately to a window's ledge. Grasping this understanding for him was like looking down and seeing that his feet were just a couple of inches from the ground. So he could naturally release his grip and go on his way. Principles are grasped in a moment of insight and inspiration. Just recall what it was like for you when you really understood how addition works, or how to successfully ride a bicycle. Everyone loves having those moments of insight. They are both inspiring and rewarding. In truth, the search for understanding is the pursuit of love. Don't you love how you feel when you've had an insight and gain understanding? When we find love, we find the understanding. We honestly must see it for ourselves. The joy we experience as we grasp the principle of balance, as we learn to ride a bicycle, exceeds our capacity for words. During the learning process, guidance can be given, but talking about riding is not the same as the experience of having learned to ride. Learning principles extends beyond the intellectual realm and raises our spirits. We undergo a personal, subjective experience that has been gained by making some number of attempts in order to have the enlightening insight that changes us and allows us to gracefully ride. So, too, be patient with the learning to be presented. It may be quite new to you. Here's why there have been difficulties in making advancements in the field of our experience and enjoyment of life. Use of the scientific method generally means the researcher's observations are made from the outside of the matter under study and looking into it. That is, from a perspective. Perspective generally makes it easier to understand things. Maps give us a perspective on a city we're visiting, making it easier to understand where we are and how to get where we want to go. Maps are helpful because they put us on the outside looking in. How can we possibly get outside of certain situations and matters, such as our experience of life? Each experience of life occurs internally and can therefore only be observed and verified by at most one individual. Each of us is right in the middle of it all. Researchers have realized this and threw up their hands and said, "Holy smokes, what do we do now?" Being on the outside doesn't help us grasp what's happening inside. We can only look at behavioral symptoms and get, at best, approximate descriptions regarding internal dynamics. No principles existed. Also, the statement, "You don't understand what I've been through," has been a commonly encountered objection in counseling. Until recently, the mental health sciences only had theories on which to operate. Fortunately, an alternative means of addressing this problem had already been discovered in a different field of science. Physicists had similar difficulty determining the shape of the universe for the same reason. We're in the middle of it, not on the outside looking in. The problem persisted until Albert Einstein interpreted the combined work of mathematicians Carl Friedrich Gauss and George Friedrich Bernard Riemann to demonstrate that the universe is curved. Not being able to be outside of the universe looking in required a deeper understanding of how curved surfaces and planetary motion affect our view. So, too, we can gain a deeper understanding by reconsidering the factors involved in producing an experience of life. Doing so in a new light will provide us with a perspective that liberates us from many of life's struggles. In general, it is accurate to say that gaining deeper understanding of any matter tends to clear things up, reduces confusion and distress. Otherwise, what's the point? In the following chapters, we will employ Gauss, Riemann's, and Einstein's orientation. It will allow us to understand ourselves and each other without having to get outside of ourselves. However, the discovery and genuine understanding of three principles of our psychological functioning provide the needed insight to clarify matters. Our deeper understanding has revealed that while our experiences of life are varied and private, which gives rise to the statement, you don't understand what I've been through. How experiences of life are formed is common to all of us. Our experience of life is formed by us viewing thought becoming illuminated by consciousness. We'll investigate how our involvement with thought and consciousness work together to produce the vast tapestry of human experience. Each of us will become our own research scientist who, from within, from the middle of it all, will observe and verify the principles that follow, accurately describing how life is experienced and head us towards a life we will love. Understanding grows. Learning and understanding new stuff is typically built on previous learning. The amount of happiness experienced increases as this happens. One of my undergraduate math teachers came to class every day in such an elevated state of mind that my fellow students would joke that he was from Mars. The image below portrays the greater happiness and breadth of thinking experienced by having learned various principles in mathematics. This kind of advancement can happen in any area of life. The point is to see that our levels of happiness, as indicated by the colors of the circles in the diagram, provide a kind of barometer that tells us what kind of thinking is available to us and how helpful that thinking is likely to be. If we've gotten rattled by some troubling experience and our spirits drop, performing long division might be out of the question, maybe even counting. If we've got the blues, we will likely try to think of something that will get us out of that bluesy feeling. However, every idea available to us will be tainted with that same bluesy feeling, and we'll continue to have the blues until we stop entertaining those thoughts and looking into them for help, and just let them pass. As we do so, we'll feel the warmth of our human consciousness rising from within and lifting our spirits. Life's payoff is living immersed in positive feelings, the source of which is our human consciousness. We will still have transient thoughts passing like phantoms before us. We may get innocently sucked into the drama they portray by sinking our mental hooks into them. However, we can effortlessly return to peace if we release our mental hooks and decline to participate with them. We'll talk about this more in the next module. We're going to look at principles related to our experience of life and how it occurs. Principles are profound because they unerringly describe a simplified, more expansive, and superior understanding of the area under investigation. Okay, time to review the module. Objectives. Principles are case-independent descriptions of the behavior or relationships of objects or subjects within some field of study. Another way to say it is a principle is a method or an understanding that works every time in the area where it is being used. The scientific method requires that observations, tests, and experiments must be relevant, objective, repeatable, and verifiable. In general, learning consists of greater or lesser quantity and greater or lesser quality. Learning a principle occurs in a moment of insight that permanently increases both quantity and quality of understanding. And we started to become familiar with the three principles involved in producing our experience of life. Oh, by the way, the answer to the math problem presented earlier is 256 square feet, made by a square enclosure of 16 feet on each side.